address the society. So, and most of what is going on in the society, often without time, they don't really need specialized degree in most time to address it. For instance, around here, with your high school degree and SAT 3, which is less than diploma, SAT 3, certificate 3, certificate 4, for students, you are already in the working force. You are already in the workforce. And once you are in workforce, you are earning above minimum average, okay? You are earning above minimum wage with that year 12 and certificate 3 and cert 4. And you are already applying your skill to solve society issue in the community.
Yes.
And they will look around, they will say, okay, they don't want to go that. And with that, they can go in, they can build the experience, they can begin to work, they can begin to earn, they can start their family very early, and everything move on. In here, a 16, 15 years old children, they are already working. They are already working without, but when we now talk about that going for bachelor's degree, most of the time, when you, for instance, when I've got my kid at 16, they already go there having industrial experience, going in, and I'm already looking at, oh, you want to go to university. Sometime that university come at the expense of government loans. We call it EP loan. And if you get EP loan, you continue to repay after your graduation, and it's also taxed. Although it's a win-win situation, because nearly everyone here, so far you want to study, you will have access to it. But sometimes it has to be by government funding, of which, if you are studying all those engineering degree or science degree, the cost is so high, and later on you will have to repay them. You will spend years trying to repay them. So because of that, being a Nigerian parent or African parent in diaspora, I know that my kid can earn bachelor's of nursing in less than $3,000 or $4,000 if you study in OAU. My kids can also become medical doctor if you study in UNINAG with just less than $5,000 throughout their stay. So some parents are already taking that initiative, and look, after your graduation, get your international secondary school degree and, write matriculation exam in Nigeria and go and study there. So that is first thing most of them are seeing. Okay? That is first thing. So we've talked about the quality of education that people, unknowingly, misconception saying Nigeria education is not good. Nigeria education is not bad, it's good. We are well recognized and respected across international community. And second thing is, we study all those A-rated courses in Nigeria with minimum, payment. So that is one thing. And the other thing people often talk about is the discipline or the curriculum content. So, that is personal.
Curriculum content.
The curriculum content. That is personal. If you have planned to stay abroad, okay, and you want your child to have a taste of the secondary education in that community, because that is the minimum your child should have. If your child have that taste of the secondary education, of course, that is in their age group. Your child will develop, your child will assimilate easily into that society. But when you now talk about advanced degree, then you have that choice. You can choose to be here if you are comfortable. Your child can go on to study, and when your child get work, he can easily pay that EP loan. We call it EP loan, or S in Australia. So you can pay it back. Or if you have someone in Nigeria, you can send them back. So parents here are already, waking up to that. They are already waking up to that. And again, sometimes the competitiveness of those degrees, the competitive. You study medicine here, you, as a local student, you probably need very high score. We call it ATAR. Okay, Australian Tertiary Assessment Ranking, so very high. And whereas in Nigeria, if you choose a university as first choice and you are able to score in JAM 300 plus, probably you will earn admission into, into your preferred choice of course. So that is me for now. Hello, sister.
Saint Berry. Saint Berry. Saint Berry.
Hello.
You know what they call Asin?
Trying to spoil my name.
Asin Berry.
Please, I don't see you. But it's okay.
Don't worry, I can see you are fine.
Very good.
You wear blue lipstick. Now, I'm so happy with what this gentleman is saying. He knows his field. You can tell that he's one of those people that understands what they are talking about.
Right.
What are your thoughts about the Nigerian? Would you send your child back to Nigeria for schooling?
So before it even became a conversation, right after I had him, I already made up my mind that he was going to school in Nigeria. I already made up my mind. And this has nothing to do with parents sending their children back to Nigeria right now, though I have second thoughts now just because of the kind of reports that I get from schools in Nigeria, especially tertiary, no, not even tertiary, like secondary schools, children getting hooked or addicted to hard substance, and then people sending their kids to school and then they buy there and then the school doesn't get shut down. You know, there's an uproar or uprising for a very short period of time and then it's business as usual. That scares me. But I had already said it from when he was an infant that this boy will study in Nigeria just because I want to equip him for the future. The kids here, and especially Nigerians who raise kids here, they just tend to want to be about abroad children. They kind of want their children to stand out from the Nigerian children because they want that distinction. Just so they say, oh, now I mean, you know how these American children they do, and at the end of the day, they bite their finger. I have a very good friend of mine who was telling me recently about a man in his late 50s and how he was crying bitterly because 2 of his children are addicted to drugs, and he feels it's too late in the day to start procreating. Substance.
You can't say that.
And
Substance.
right, and it's too late for him to begin to procreate. You have to be a Nigerian parent even here abroad for there. Of course, there are good schools here in the U.S. My fear is the societal impact on the children, which is why I am raising my son Nigerian style. I have friends, I have acquaintances. When you go visit them and you see their children acting out of sorts, you know, like what the typical Nigerian parent would not find as acceptable. When you try to call their attention to it, they say, you know how all these abroad children, they do, they excuse the kids, right? I am raising my son Nigerian style. He's 6.5 years old and he knows what looks mean. You know how your parents will look at you and different looks have different meanings? He's 6 and he already understands what my looks are. He knows I'm not playing. He knows I'm not playing. So for me, my fear stems more from the behavioral aspect, what's acceptable here. And when they go into middle school, then they begin to mix with certain kids from other homes. Now there, the wahala they start. If you don't raise them the Nigerian style from the very beginning to where you instill in them the values of the Nigerian home, you end up regretting it. So the reason I would love for my own child to school in Nigeria, definitely not one of those schools that have had those incidents, right? But the reason I would want my child to school in Nigeria is so that he can experience life, hardship, Well, not
It's not
hardship. Like I would not.
hardship.
Yeah, I would not deliberately put him through hardship, but I want him to pass through the Nigerian system, experience what it is to have mosquito bites, experience what it is for NEPA to, because here he has uninterrupted power. He needs to see what it's like on the other side, maybe during his secondary education. And then when he comes back here, he's sharp and smart. He has the Nigerian resilience. The people here don't have the staying power like Nigerians do. They don't have the resilience, they don't have the strength, they don't have the drive. Little things, they start talking about mental health and how, oh my God, they can't take it anymore.
Mental health.
Hey, no, I want my child to go through boarding system where seniors go tell him, do this, do that. Just let him just pass through that so that he sees that there's life away from, the United States, where here you see them do, oh, put you. That thing can vex me, eh? You see a child when they misbehave, you go come say, he's just a kid. No, I get pancere for house, So I want him to undergo that Nigerian, because look at me, I passed through it, I turned out okay. There are a lot of children here, when you just see them, especially by Nigerian parents, I just shake my head because I know what's waiting for them in the future. They are laying the foundations for them to bite their hand in the future, because you know how these American children behave. That's the excuse. We excuse certain things. Or we say, he's really not Nigerian. If you look at it, he was born here, so they are American children. You were born Pekin for America. Before they call your Pekin American children, because they excuse them. Before you know it, your own child is telling you, no, don't talk to me that way, Mama. I need to. No. We're not the door for my house. And my 6-year-old knows, and people who know me close enough know that I'm not the one or the two. He's 6, he already knows.
Straight up, sis.
Yep. Cannot be me, though. Send my children to Nigeria. Without me, never.
Why do you make Nigeria
Cannot
look like
happen.
a prison sentence?
Why would I send my... First of all, the fact that we grew up like that doesn't make it right. Or doesn't mean... a lot of people, I hear this a lot, especially amongst Nigerians. Oh, I went through the same thing growing up. I turned out okay. How do you know you turned out okay? You think you turned out okay. It doesn't mean you turned out okay. I want my kids to have it better than I did. I don't want my kids to go through the same thing. I don't want them to experience mosquito bites that leads to malaria. I don't want them to experience that.
How many times
I don't want to, the fact that I don't want to traumatize. I don't want my kids traumatized.
Mosquito
bite
ain't trauma, my darling. Mosquito bite ain't trauma.
Mosquito bites that leads to malaria.
It's not trauma.
First of all,
it becomes trauma. Let me tell you
it's not
something I
trauma.
learned.
For my kids, it's trauma.
Let me tell you something I learned about Nigeria. Hard times. Hold on.
Okay.
Hard times create strong people. Strong people create easy times. Easy times.
See, first of all,
create
my
weak
kids
people.
are not.
Hold on.
I'm never going.
Easy times create weak people. Weak people create strong times. So even if you make life soft for your children, your grandchildren will have it hard.
Right.
No. I'm not making it on like it's not like I'm giving them soft landing, easy life, but I'm not going to subject them to Nigeria's trauma. Because first of all, they're not planning on living in Nigeria. It's not like I want to go back into Nigeria in my old age, or I want to relocate back to Nigeria, and it's not going to happen. So why would my kids
relocating?
Why would I
I'm not relocating to Nigeria. However, what I'm saying is, my son has to pass through the Nigerian system so that he can appreciate life elsewhere. He needs to know that there are places where NEPA takes light, where he doesn't have light 24/7. You talk about Nigeria like Nigeria is a place where, oh, if you send your children there, they just go and it's trauma. Calling mosquito bites trauma. Are you serious right now?
See, first of all, the fact your child doesn't need to live in Nigeria to know that there are other places that are not like the United States. They can go for vacation. They can go visit. You
Do you know
can
America
travel
has
with
more
your
cancer?
kids.
Hold on. Do you know America has more cancer than almost any other country on earth?
Because we're eating
Because of their
processed
food.
food. We're eating, yes,
I'd
we're
rather
eating
have
processed food. We're
malaria
eating
than
That's not
food
what
from
cancer.
cans.
that's
Even
what
the
I'm talking about.
even the vegetables they serve you, they tell you is fresh from the farm. It's not, because everything has chemicals in it. Yes.
I'm not saying you cannot expose your child or your children to other cultures. You can expose them to your culture. You can travel the world with them. You can take them, to different parts of the world, not just even
What
Nigeria,
I
not
am
just even
saying and
Africa.
what you are saying are
Just so they
apples
can
and oranges.
understand. Wait, just so they can understand that there are other places and don't limit this and don't have tunnel vision.
That is free song.
What I'm
But
saying and what you are saying are apples and oranges. Me taking my son, honestly, for a 6-year-old, he's more traveled than any other child that I know. But what we're talking about is sending them back home to build resilience and to prep them for the future. That's different things. You are talking about vacation. Taking your children to Nigeria on vacation will have a lot of uncles and aunties saying, "Hey, Una, don't come," and they pet him throughout the 1 month, or 6 weeks, or the 2 weeks that he stays there. That's not experiencing Nigeria.
Let the teacher talk. Ladies, teacher wants to talk. Teacher, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Daddy Freeze. To my sister who wants children to pass through the education system, she has a valid point, very valid point. Look, touring around, taking your kids around like on short vacation and sending your children to experience the schooling in Nigeria, they are not the same. They are not the same. She wants her children to experience Nigeria system, to have that first-hand experience of what is it like. That is the real education. When I started talking on this piece, I talk about the importance of secondary education. That secondary education, that 10 year, from that 12 to 16 is a very, very decisive stage
Right.
in every child. I've seen it across the whole world. I've seen it in Nigeria while teaching in Nigeria. I've seen it in Dubai under British curriculum, and I'm seeing it here also. That age is very critical. Look, we are Nigerian. We have our own cultural identity. Okay, if that is what you want for your child, please do it. Okay, do it. You have someone, but because it's going to be a life-changing moment for them. It's going to be a real force, experience for them, and it's going to shape the way they assimilate into all this American society and foreign society. So I take no negative aside if you have someone at home, or you can be going, someone that can, safeguard them, look after them. If you really want them to have that experience, please let them have it. It's not bad at all. And to my other sister that was talking about having, see, when we talk about child education, it's not automatic. We rarely make a general statement because each child responds to society based on what they have in them, based on their family background,
Yes, it
based on
starts
their
from the
knowledge.
family, correct.
Yeah. So, and again, equally, you can still raise your child systemically here in where you are in foreign land, in Nigeria, because in the UAE, my tour around the world education, have seen African parents here that they are good examples of African parents, and they never send their child to Nigeria.
Exactly.
So parenting styles, controlling, having a
My
mixture
point
of
exactly. It has nothing to do with
having a blend of who you are, your own self-identity, and the way you interact with the society we find ourselves. Some parents have been able to do that successfully. Here in Australia, safeguarding someone like me, we a lot of things around here that has to do with child. the child of right ear is very 100%, and some children are already aware of that. So you want to be careful. You want to find a balance. You want to see how you interact with your child, how you get your child on your side so that they can be open to you on whatever their experience is, and you can support them, the way you incorporate the discipline, the consequences of their inaction or their low-level behavior. How do you do that, and how do you show love? That is what I'm seeing around here in Australia that people are doing. People are, working on. But I understand how volatile American society can be. Of course, Australia is more conservative. It's a conservative. You
Absolutely,
really,
absolutely.
yeah, is a very traditional, country that you rarely see all these things. They happens, but you rarely see them. So it's kind of, for someone like us in Australia, most people that I've seen, that I've talked to, they want to send their kids to Nigeria, not for secondary education, but for tertiary. And that is on the reason I've talked about earlier on. And for people in America, the picture can look differently to them. Because Americans, I've got brothers in America, although they attended their secondary education here and they are here. When you talk to them, I've got teacher in American too, my colleague, who moved to America on H-1B. I also wanted to move earlier on, got contacted by school in, not Texas. Yeah, everything was ready before my Australian PR got granted. So yeah, we are both right. For American society, I agree with you. Please let them have the taste of Nigerian education. Let them have that background that you have. Let them understand, let them see the context. But if you still feel like you want to raise them in America, then how you balance our cultural identity and society, how you show love, how you let them see different things, the content they access, and that is where you really, really need to work on. Yeah, but both of you are right.
You see,
exactly. Like there's
No,
no one
for me,
best.
for me,
There's no one best. Wait,
I know
so
you
for
let me
me,
say
it's
something.
not. For me, it's not about right or wrong. I just express my
Opinion.
reasoning and
Right.
how
Which is
I
good.
want to do mine. However way you want to do yours, that's completely up to you. This is how I want to do mine. I have gone to gatherings. I have seen badly, when I say badly, like really badly behaved kids of Nigerian parentage. And they excuse them by saying, oh, you know how American children, they do. I just feel that it should not be the case. You see Nigerian parents here, and you would expect the basic thing, like your child walks into the room full of elders. You even expect the child to greet, because that's something is normal and natural. It just comes naturally to us. You see their old children just looking you in the eye, like there's those little things is missing. And then you can't even point it out because the parents already have a defense mechanism in place to defend bad behavior. So I personally, at home here, that's why I said the level of involvement by the parents, very key, very important.
Yeah,
if I look at my child a certain way in a grocery store, he knows what it means. If I look at him when we're out with people, I'm still talking. When I look at him
You've been talking
outside,
since. You've been talking since. You said talking
I'm
first.
not dragging talk with you.
Since.
I'm not dragging talk with you.
There's no
Let me
point
finish, please. Let me finish, please. I have different ways of looking
but
at
you don't
him
need to be
in public.
snappy with me.
I have other ways talking. Chris, I beg you,
if you snap at me, I snap at you back. It's that simple.
I have different ways to look at my son when we are in public, right? And I have other ways that I look at him, in private. He knows what these different looks mean. Those are the missing ingredients. And I want my child to have those values. And I don't think it's wrong.
Okay, can I talk now?
Okay.
Because she has been talking since.
Over to you, Tolu.
First of all, she said, when she came in, she talked for like 30 minutes first. The other guy talked. I talked for 10 minutes. Everybody jumped on. Can I talk now?
Yes, Tolu.
So, first of all, I didn't say anybody is wrong. Just like management style in the workplace. There's
Why
no
did I
one best
wait?
management
Why do you
style
think I brought you?
for
I was seeing your comments. You've not said anything. You've typed a lot. That's why I brought you.
But exactly. But see, there's no one best management style, just like there's no one best parenting style. As children, everybody's different. The children are different. The way you raise your child, and the parents are different as well. The way you raise your child is different from the way I choose to raise mine. First of all, I'm not raising my children for. If you think Nigeria's system, how we raise children in Nigeria, how children have to walk in the room and cannot look at your face. You know how Nigerians, we're not even trained to be bold. You know that, right? As Nigerians, we don't want to look at authority. You don't want to talk to your boss and look them right in the eye. But here in America, when somebody's talking to you and you're not looking at them in the eye, they feel you're being deceptive. They feel you're lying. Yes. First of all, I'm not training my child to live in Nigeria, to live under Nigeria high power distance kind of system. They are going to live. They are living here. They are going to work here, and they're going. So I'm training them for here, and the fact that they learn the fact that they are learning how Africans react to respect, or how different cultures react to respect, because they know when they see Africans are different than when they see their other white family. It's different, but it doesn't mean that I have to train them. It's not a one size fits all. They have to interact with different people. They're interacting with both their American counterparts and their Nigerian. First of all, they're not even. How many Nigerians are they even interacting with? That they would have to go back to Nigeria. Me, I'm just saying, I personally cannot send my children. I cannot even be away from them that long, especially when they're in their growing years, to send them back to Nigeria and they be there alone and I'm here. If I want to relocate back to Nigeria, then the whole family relocates back. But not that I will send only the child back to Nigeria or to go and do boarding school in Nigeria and I'm here. If you like Nigeria so much, you should move with your child. Everybody should move and go back to Nigeria. Nigeria is so wonderful. The training is so great. Then you move to Nigeria and it's so great.
Teacher, was there anyone on this call who said something about sending their children by themselves to Nigeria?
No.
I thought when you came on, we were both saying that because I want him to have a tertiary education, right? But the strategy behind that, nobody expressed, right? Okay, so I'm yielding the floor to you.
All right. So, again, I'm seeing some comments here from people about Nigerian graduates that the phrase, I will address that later. Like people graduate in Nigeria but no jobs. Please, I will talk about that. But let's still talk about, I think my sister and Sister Tolu, these are our mother, so to say. So they are so concerned. I know it's about kid behavior. That is what they are. If my wife is also here, she will be talking about the same thing. I know. So let me just talk about that again. I notice where Sister Tolu is coming from. Yeah, she also has a valid point. She has a valid point. If your child is going to be in this society, grow up in this society, and live in this society as long as we have, how do we, balance that our cultural identity and ensure their survival, they behave in a rightful manner in the same society without sending them to Nigeria? After all, this is where they will be living for as long as possible. And again, look, in foreign land, in Arabic culture that I've experienced, in Western culture that I have experienced, there are a lot of them that raise their children to be a model for the society. And they are not Nigerian, they are white, they are Arabs, So, and in the same society, and you see some children behavior, and you begin to talk, who is someone, So it's still, in Nigeria, despite all this, we've seen wealthy people that are unable to properly, care for their child, and you see the behavior from the child, and you wonder what is going on. So, parenting style, how you, care for your child, the kind of support you give them, go a long way. So that is that. So it's about what each parent believe. It's about what parent believe that is best for their child. So that is parental perspective. Why on living in diaspora. So personally, my child's secondary education will be here. Definitely will be here because I don't have anyone in Nigeria to send them to, and I believe they have settled down well. My children have settled down well in Australia, and everything is under control. But sending kids back for tertiary education is going to be about the reason I've talked about. Like if they can be whatever they want to be and they feel like they want to experience here, it's fine. Let them experience it. Now, the other comment I saw on this post is people talking about Nigerian education is quality, but yet graduates have no job. Okay, let me just comment about that. Okay, I'm not a politician, so to say. Look,
but that's
I've
not the
said
fault of
it.
it. That's the fault of the system.
That's
Yeah,
an economic issue. Yeah.
let me talk about that. Let me talk about that. I've said it. Every sovereign country has a curriculum that responds to the need of the society, except Nigeria. I made the same comment on LinkedIn a while back, and the comment received a lot of like and appreciation or something like that. You know, when people we hear in the UK, in Australia, in Dubai that I've taught, there are regular review of curriculum. What is going on? What are the emerging industry that is coming up? What are the small business people are doing? And you see them trying to align the curriculum, the high school, you know, to address those needs. Except in Nigeria that we have, you know, a static curriculum for as long as possible. Look, education in Nigeria is quality, but is it addressing the need of our society? No, it's not.
No.
It's not
No.
addressing
Yeah.
the need.
Right.
And the second thing is Nigeria, we are very creative, but there is no enabling environment for people, you know, to put those creativity into play.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it. Now, if you want to know that your Nigerian education, look, here we talk about theory, we do a lot of practical, but look at it. If you can learn a concept, understand the concept abstractly with at least 40% practical, now you now come to a society where you have an unlimited access to, you know, to practical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you will do well. You will do much more
Excel.
better
Yeah.
than them.
Mm-hmm.
You will excel than them. That is why for America, people in America can say that. I did interview with a school district there. I've seen people who have moved to America on H1B. All it takes is those assessment and interview. When you see Nigerian graduates talking about the concepts they understand, you will respect them.
Right.
And they are from our society right there. They know their stuff. Now, I can count the number of my chemistry cohorts in OAU that are already a PhD holder in chemistry in the United States. They are here in Hardlight working, leading innovation across Australia. You know, so Nigerian education is good. It's not, but except for the fact that it's not addressing our own societal demand,
Yeah.
and that is not you or my fault. It's the fault of the system. So if you are a Nigerian graduate here, if you are a Nigerian student here, and you are studying something you don't know about, or you see that, how do I do this? Study it, get best you can, and when it is time for you to seek for greener pasture, I always tell people it is good to move on student visa. That is another thing, but try to move as a skill migrant. Move as a skill migrant. If you move as a skill migrant, it will be a better, you settle down well and you have a long-term prospect in wherever you move to. Okay.
I want to say something because everybody has been talking since.
I'm in hard light. Someone has.
So I wanted to say something, and this is a very important point. Parental perspective. If I were living in the US or the UK, I would want my children to be around me, and I would try to find a way to make the best of my situation. I wouldn't want to send my children to Nigeria without me being there. And that also goes the other way around. I insisted that all my children went to tertiary institutions in Nigeria. You are not going abroad unless it is masters. That was my stance from the beginning. And I know it was war to get taste buds to be on my side with that. Because first things first, I was wondering the price in the education difference. Abroad, you need about $100,000 to send a child to university. In Nigeria, you get that university done with $5,000 or $6,000.
Government subsidized.
Now, masters, on the other hand, is a lot cheaper. If you understand what I'm talking about. And I also wanted my children to know that I did not come to this life to serve them. It's a very important message. And I think I got that from my upbringing. I don't get property where they work keep for children. No. I say this all the time. I left my father's house without a pen. And I did not go to the kind of schools my children went to. So if I could do it, why can't you? Do you understand? Oh, yes, I had to go through hard times to get to where I am today. I will cushion those hard times for you. Because there were times I had to go to school and I didn't have shoes. Not that I was barefoot, but I was wearing old shoes. You understand? My father was the kind of person that did not believe in going to hotel, going to restaurants, having the latest cars, all those kind of things. He was investing his money his whole life. And at the end of the day, I asked myself, okay, you have invested all this money. Can we see the investment now? He still hasn't. So I'm like, I want my children to, I experienced growing up. So I want them to have a more balanced life.
Right.
I want them to have good iPhones. I want them to have a few good things so that they can have good confidence. But I don't want to pad their way through life.
Yeah.
That I don't want to do. And since we raise them very sheltered in Nigeria, if we send them abroad, the sheltering must continue, or else you are throwing them to the elements. And education abroad is cheaper than sheltering abroad. That $100,000 you are spending to educate them, you will spend $200,000 to keep them in a nice neighborhood, to give them the kind of allowance they need. So at the end of the day, you're going to, especially since I don't live there, you're going to end up putting yourself under undue stress. I know Nigerian parents who, yes, I understand if you are sending your child abroad so that they can get papers, get a dual citizenship, you are paying that $100,000 over 3-4 years to get dual. I understand. But if it is for the education and you want your children to be able to fit into a foreign society, I think that more or less defeats the cause, because I also want my children to understand that Nigeria has specific problems. And if we don't solve them, nobody would on our behalf. Most of the people that ran to Nigeria, out of the country, I'm sorry to say this, but they ran away from the responsibility.
They're stranded. Majority
Even
of them are stranded right now.
All of you that are doing well abroad, you ran away from the responsibility of building Nigeria.
I beg to differ, because if you remember, there was a time I was the only vlogger. I was the only political. No, it was me and this lady. Is it the Ayeola lady? Actually, she inspired me to start vlogging. The one that used to work for Sahara, right? The time I started vlogging on political issues, I was the only one. But I can tell you that 95% of the time that I was talking about the ills in the society and what we can do collectively, right? By getting the country back on the right path, you find the very same people that you are trying to make a case for insulting you, talking about, hey, she can't draw her makeup, go here, the lipstick no match the face, the seeing lashes and all that. One day I woke up and I said to myself, to what end? It's the very same people you're trying to champion their causes. I am not directly affected by whatever it is they're going on, police, being unfair to people and then the poor suffering while the rich go, scot-free, or at the very most, the slap on the wrist and all the injustice, all the economic uprising and the political uprising and economic instability that has put the country where it is today. There was a time I was the only voice talking about it. And all what I got from Nigerians were insults until I woke up one day and I had a redirection. I said, you know what? Let me just enjoy my life. Let me just enjoy my life. If I really don't care. And so when my DM got filled with, oh, you don't talk again, you don't vlog again, I said, no, because I don't have time. It's the same Nigerians that you're trying to speak for and defend that will turn around and insult you, and they are the ones crying now. That's why I have close to zero empathy when I see people crying about how Nigeria done hard. Because as hard as it is right now, there are still people who are still saying Nigeria is good. That's the reality of the situation. I just so happen to want my son to taste certain things just so that he can understand and appreciate the value of what he has here. I just so happen to be blessed to where I can work in any time zone in the world. That's why when I travel with my son, I go with my work laptop. There are people who don't have that. And so because of that, they will have to probably look for guardians for their kids. So if I'm going to take my son for their term is usually between 3 to 4 months, right? I can afford to be out of the country for 3 to 4 months and then we return here for his vacation. I can do that. Not every parent can do that.
You're right.
It just depends on what your reality look like. And that's why I am not using the same brush to paint everybody, which was why I made it very clear that this is my take from the get-go. I didn't advise any parent to toe the line. Neither did I say this style or model is wrong. I did not say that. I just talked about me and my reality. That's the difference.
One thing I wanted to say, and then Tolu gets to talk next. You see, Tolu, why did I bring you on? I saw you chatting away furiously. You see, sometimes it's easier to chat than to talk and face everybody. And I saw that you were building a small supporters club inside the comment section. I said, okay, let me bring you. The supporters club has dwindled. You see,
people see, Daddy Freeze, half of the people saying they're going to say, oh, I want to send my children, I want to send my children. You would see now, when their children, most of them will not send their children to Nigeria.
See, let me tell you something. Nigeria has its madness. Nigeria, and I'm worried to say this, but Nigeria is seemingly getting even worse at this stage that we're in. One thing we used to feel before NSAS was, at least I used to feel safe on the island.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Nigeria had its madness. You don't want to be in traffic in certain places at certain times. But we used to feel safe. After NSAS, we lost that feeling of safety. And it is degenerating more and more and more. That, for me, is my primary concern with Nigeria. Safety. Number 2, medical emergency. I saw an accident once on the M1 in the UK. Helicopter was called in 5 minutes to come and pick the person up.
Yeah, they will airlift you. Yeah.
Nigeria, you don't want to have a medical emergency. You don't want to. The healthcare in Nigeria, just like the education, is as good as anywhere in the world unless you have an emergency. That's where everywhere else now seniors Nigeria. I have had, what's his name? May his soul rest in peace. Sound Sultan. He was treated for cancer abroad. He didn't make it. I have 3 family members that had cancer and were treated in Nigeria, and they're all fine today. I'm not telling you what I read in a newspaper or what somebody told me. I'm telling you what we went through, what I experienced. My father had open heart surgery in Nigeria. Nigeria. He's still alive. 3 years later.
Do you think if Sultan was treated for that same cancer in Nigeria, he would have made it?
Absolutely.
You think?
Because according to the report, and I don't want to, according to what I heard from the family, and it is not in my position to say, it was suggested that that the amount of chemo that he was given was more than what he could handle. I'm not saying that was, but a member of the family hinted along those lines.
Yes, but Freeze, don't also forget that it depends on what stage he was at.
Muslims will say once it is your time, it is your time. You understand? I don't want to beat around. I don't want to talk about. You see, I also would not allow anybody talk down on the Nigerian healthcare system. Now, if you say it is not affordable to everyone, then you have a valid point. The Australian healthcare system is available to every Australian. The American healthcare system is available to every American. The UK healthcare system is available to every British person. The Nigerian healthcare system is available, the good healthcare is available to 0.01% of the population.
Even that good healthcare, if you are somewhere that you cannot get to that particular good hospital, what would happen to you?
That's what I mean. Emergency.
Exactly.
Now,
it doesn't. I'm sure a lot of people were thinking emergency accident because
someone said cancer cannot be better handled in Nigeria. 100%.
I also have my younger brother.
Yeah.
Died in Nigeria under circumstances that should not have happened.
So
when we talk about Nigerian healthcare, I will be completely against. I apologize, but I cannot even stand to hear of Nigerian healthcare being so wonderful because I've known too many people that have gone that shouldn't have gone.
Now,
hold on. Nigeria healthcare.
Hold on. That is why I say this your argument is subjective. Just like mine is also subjective. Because I told you I had 4 people in my family that had cancer. The one person who didn't survive refused medical care and instead went to follow pastor. That's the one person. And everybody told them.
Did they sell the person miracle water?
Yes.
No,
and oils and all that. Now, you see,
person.
if you come in Nigeria, let me explain my background in Nigeria for you, which should be similar to what many of you. I went to one of the best schools in Ibadan, ISI. Afe Babalola's daughter was my setmate. The younger brother that got married in Abuja to Balewa's daughter or granddaughter was my junior in secondary school. Most of the people who I went to secondary school with are able to get things done. Would I say maybe they are part of that 0.1% of the society? In that regard, they have access to these facilities, but it is also subjective of me to imagine that everybody has it. I'll also tell you a story of my childhood friend. We grew up together. His wife had cancer in the US. And she was a doctor. NHS kept pushing and pushing. By the time they finally agreed it was cancer, because they don't like doing expensive tests and all those things. By the time they finally agreed it was cancer, she was stage 4. She had 6 more months to live.
That was why I asked you this. That was why I asked you about what is
reports from the UK that are similar to that, and also in Canada. I know people who wear their clothes in Canada and come home. I know at least 4 to 5 people in the UK and in Canada who come home for procedures, from cancer treatment to what is it called? What's this other one called? Fertility treatment. To I know 5 different people. Now, I know a guy who was borderline about to take his life. He had a bug in his stomach, an infected collected his girlfriend, and his girlfriend left him, and it was bad. And he just sent me. I wish he could reach out to me. He just said that he frees. Somebody said if I come to Nigeria, that I can get this treated. If I don't, I'm going to buy myself because I can't deal with this anymore. This guy came to Nigeria, went to a hospital in Ikeja, and got treated and healed completely. He now went to the UK and brought his Jamaican girlfriend from the UK to come and receive that same treatment in Nigeria. They couldn't figure it out in the UK what was wrong with both him and his girlfriend. They couldn't figure it out. They did all the tests. Now, he was even on private. My other friend was on NHS. So, you know, NHS can be restrictive. This other guy was on private. He had access to, they just couldn't figure it out. 2 weeks in Nigeria. He figured he was okay. He went back to the UK so that they will not be reinfecting themselves. Brought back, collected visa for his Jamaican UK in it babe. Brought her to that same Ikeja, collected treatment. The two of them are fine till today. This was a guy that was going to take his life because this thing had stressed him for years.
Chris, regarding healthcare in Canada, they are quite restrictive, especially with doctors. So a medical doctor can come, a trained medical doctor from Nigeria can come here. All he needs to do is write the board exam, right? And they certify him, he practices. A medical doctor cannot come from Nigeria to Canada and practice after writing a board exam. Even in the US here, their doctors can't cross over there and write board exam and practice. So they have a shortage. They have a shortage of medical personnel in Canada. And for some reason, I don't know why they would not relax their laws or relax or even revisit it, reevaluate it, because there's a lot of people who are like on a wait list for a lot of treatment. I don't know why they would not relax, I don't know, their system, because there are people that are the ones suffering it. For South Sultan, may God rest his soul, I don't know about that aggressive. You know, your chemo treatment can be aggressive based off of how far gone, what stage, because he can be in stage 1 and they'll be giving him aggressive chemo. It's possible that by the time they found out, he was already far gone. And what does chemo do? It burns those.
Like I said, I only touched on it briefly. Yeah. So let's move on to other examples.
I know. Yeah, I know. Chemo will burn the cells. It will burn the cells. So what we consider aggressive may just be a bid to just help to burn as many cells that there are, and then maybe someone may not just be able to take it, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Talking about Nigerian medical system, definitely, obviously, Nigeria, we've got the expertise, but based on what I've seen around, the facility, we do not have the facility, and the accessibility is quite poor in Nigeria.
It is the accessibility that we don't have.
That the phrase.
Hold on. Facility. Anything you have in the UK, in the US, and in Canada, they have it in Nigeria.
But
it is not
maybe 3 hospitals.
No,
maybe 3.
That's why we not say it's not. No, we don't have it.
We don't.
If you have over 200 million people and you have one or 3 centers, you don't have it.
Hold on. If you have one, do you have it or do you not have it?
You don't have. If you have 200 million people for that one, you don't have it.
We are talking about, the point is, availability is there, even if it's not enough, but can you access it? There are people, hold on, there are people who can access it. So the conversation should not be, is it available? Is it available? Even if there's one somewhere in Oshodi, we have that one. But now it is not accessible to 200 million people. Let's be objective in our conversation.
That the phrase, let me define my availability. Maybe you will change your perception. Now, this is what we mean. In all this country we're talking about, Australia, Canada, United States, we said those facilities are available because at every postal code, you've got those facility that is serving those local people. And in fact, when you go to your GP, once they see your address, they know that you are their own. They will respond to you. You have that. That is what we define as availability. In Nigeria, what you are talking about is one facility being available to around 200,000 people who have to travel 18 kilometers before they can
200
access it.
million.
That is not availability. That is not availability by what standard? So again, in Nigeria, we've got the expert, but the facility are not available and we can't access it. And another thing that is also killing
I would disagree
Nigeria.
with the availability. If you say accessibility, I would agree. If the whole community, hold on, if the whole community has one bicycle, we cannot say that community does not have a bicycle. Can everyone in the community access the bicycle? That's a different conversation.
By world standard of them having it, you cannot say they have it if they cannot, it's not accessible.
It's not available.
It's not available. If they cannot access it, it's not available to them.
They come hand in hands.
Exactly. You can't say all of us have just one, but we can't use it because it's just one that we have. It's not available. It's not accessible.
Oh, yes.
Both.
And another problem with Nigeria health system is record. This is Nigerian problem in general. We don't have a proper database. We don't have record. You know, here, once you enter a country, maybe your equivalent of NIN, in Australia we call it IHI, individual head identifier. You know, everyone will have that. We have your medical history. You can be treated. They know where you are at every point of your, health. They know everything. But in Nigeria, our records are messed up. So all those things need to be fixed. If we have budget for all this stuff, but because of lack of record, we can't even plan effectively into it. Then the last thing that is also wreaking havoc on Nigerian health system is lack of clear policy on insurance that we have. If you ask majority of Nigeria, only few people have understanding of insurance scheme that they have at their disposal in Nigeria. I've seen it countless time around on the internet, especially with some of our artists, and you see people raising, let's raise 300,000 for someone so that we can take it. Well, I made a comment on that day on one of our popular artists, like, why are you raising money for this person? Let the person go to NHIS, let them have an insurance, let them do the assessment, and they should take it from there. You see people talking about.
But when you're already sick, when you're already exhibiting symptoms, because they will test you first.
Hold on.
I'm aware of that.
Sorry, I want to tackle you on that, teacher. You see, abroad, you are taught to get health insurance. You are taught to get life insurance. In Nigeria, it is grace of God you are taught. You are taught what God cannot do.
Not everyone. No, not everyone.
People in Nigeria do not have the mentality. It's not like we don't have all these insurance around.
Yeah,
we have them. Nobody knows how to use them.
People
do not believe in it. You see, Nigerians, ordinary car insurance. If government is not sitting on your head, you will not do that car insurance. Instead, you will anoint the car with olive oil. I know what I'm talking about.
And I'll put cross.
And you will put cross. And they will hang cross on it. A Muslim will hang tira on the brake.
I'm a Muslim. I'll put my test view there.
Some will even hang tira on the brake. So
several years ago, when Ejike Asegbu was the president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, on 2 different occasions, 2 separate insurance companies approached the Actors Guild and said they wanted to form a partnership with the Actors Guild. And at the time, I registered. For the most part, it was Waka passes that registered because they are the ones who will come around, you know, the National Theatre. So the big ones, you only see them when they come to your sets. The scheme failed twice. So if we talk about, at the end of the day, it's how will I put it? It's your level of maybe exposure. I don't know, because
Exposure and
they,
understood. That is
yeah,
it.
because they
That is it.
let people know, hey, come take insurance just in case. It's a way to secure your future. It's a way for you to not have all your costs out of pocket when you have a problem. But not many people signed up. So
Same here. I think what that the priest was talking about, that we were taught grace of God. That obviously that's us, but that's
please,
true.
please
Now
find a
that's
way
so
to
true.
bring it to
No,
that.
no, but
That's so
we
true.
know.
It's, when I was in Nigeria, I had insurance at least for the last 6 years.
I
I
did
was
too.
there
Did
with
you
the
ever use it?
family. I rarely
I did too.
sick, but I
Now
think mostly,
that's a different question. Does
yeah,
it work?
it works for my children. It
Oh,
works
they
for
use it.
them. They use it, and what they claim out of the insurance is not up to what I have paid. Then, what Daddy Fritz was saying, the point was that I had a discussion with someone, and I tried to like let them sign up for like something like that, and they asked, and they said, no, that is a waste of money. That is where the Nigeria perspective come
Thank
into
you.
play. Like,
Thank you.
yeah, that is it. I agree with that. So the point I was making the other time about those artists was that you have all this your theater association. What information are you giving to them about those kind of
They
schemes
had
that can be helpful to
town
them?
halls. No, in fairness
Yeah,
to the AGN, there were town halls on more than 2 occasions. I attended those, and they highlighted the importance of having insurance, what it will do for you, and you
let's
know your
sign
premium
up.
is just some stipend. Your
Yeah,
premium is usually small, but nope, not many people signed up.
they
So when I
didn't.
see them carrying people around and saying bring money, contribute money, I
Yeah,
just shake my head because there are certain avoidable,
yeah,
instances where
situation that. So that is I think problem, we've seen it all. Problem in Nigeria are all those accessibility and lack of those data that people that can support, and awareness is not there. The one we're talking about, awareness. Many people don't know about insurance. They don't even have the knowledge of it, and so that is the Nigeria problem is there, and it's just reflecting on every aspect of people's life.
All right. I
Ask
want us
Jita,
to
sorry,
end
sir.
here. I
I
want
don't
us
go.
to end here. Whether you like it or not, there's always a balanced perspective, a balanced, non-subjective perspective
right.
to all of this. If you think you want to bring your children home and you think you want them to be more culturally, how do I put it, more inclined, which will help them survive better abroad, I'm all in it. Malaria is not going to leave you traumatized. America has one of the highest cancer rates in the whole world. 1 out of every 2 people in America are going to develop cancer. That's how bad it is. 1 out of every 2. It's not 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5. Just count 2 people won't go get cancer. That's where America is going.
Because we're eating GMO stuff. You can't find anything free, like fresh.
Nigeria no get cancer.
No. Nigeria compared
Nigerians,
to...
a lot of Nigerians are dying from cancer, but they're not even knowing. They're not even diagnosing
You are
it.
talking about the boys on the street. At least there are people who can afford to go and do checkup. There are people who can afford to even in America, people are dying from cancer because they are not answering them on time if they're on insurance. Even in the UK, same thing in Canada. Unless in all these countries, unless you are crying, they will not go and start treating cancer. They will say, okay, is it psychological? Is it emotional? Take these 2 pills, you'll be okay. Tolu, I will send you 10 different videos because I remember when we're dealing with one family member's cancer. We're doing research on YouTube to find out what was the best place to send, because we didn't want to treat them locally. This whole idea, Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is bad. Now, so if we put ourselves inside 50,000 pounds basically, we're about to raise 50,000 pounds. We ended up spending 4,000 pounds. The person has been doing okay for the last 4 years. 100% remission. So we were gathering 50,000 pounds to carry the person, put for aeroplane, begin go. The person will go, no come back. But we're able to sort it out here. So when you make all these statements that people are, it's not people. Yes, I agree. The average Nigerian is stupid and superstitious and religious in their background.
That's that part. That part.
Is the problem.
Repeat it. Repeat it. You need to repeat that.
Everybody. So one thing I want to say is, and this is a very important point for all of us to note. If you feel like I said, none of my kids is going to do university abroad, first degree, no. If any of my children is doing it, just know it is against my will. Because I want them to also be emotionally strong. Nigeria builds very strong emotional people, not people that begin to cry. Baba, there's nothing that is coming that you've not seen in this Nigeria. And, and the way we would handle trauma is different from the way, Baba, I know people who had PTSD from the September 11 issue.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
in
of
America.
Course.
Baba, once it happens for Nigeria, you cross there, you not touch your body. You will have that PTSD, but not to the point where you can't function. There were people who could not function again in society just because they expressed it. Nigeria, you go see where they born thief. You go pay, you go run mad, but you will go to work the next day.
Oh,
you
sure.
move on. There are people, because in Nigeria, you experience these levels of trauma, and just the way you have immunity to malaria. Let me tell you my personal story. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I took my children for malaria. They were all sick. So I took them all to the hospital. They all had malaria. Plus. So me and my wife were there. We now say, let's test ourselves too. We too, we had plus. They gave us malaria medicine. We go home. I asked my wife, I said, I'm not feeling sick. I will not use this medicine because I'm not feeling sick. Maybe so I kept the medicine close, but if I felt the slightest itch, I'll jump on it. Till today, I never use it, and I never get that malaria.
Because you have immunity to it.
I have immunity.
So the fact that we have immunity to,
and that is how we've also built immunity towards what much of the Western world would have collapsed from what they call trauma. I know people who experience that GUN stuff inside classroom, and they can't function in society again.
Oh yeah.
That GUN. Nigerian man go come off for bank where you see 3 people buy. Say, Baba, hey, homo, they go beer parlor, go give them as gist. The guy when they come paint my house one day, he bought some assault. 3 people buy inside. The guy still come paint my house that day. He cries small, we beg him. Baba, they paint house, they go. So I'm not saying it is good.
Freeze, I have a friend here. Freeze, I have a friend here. For 3 good years, his daughter has been repeating the same class and he said, well, every parent will say their children are brilliant. He says his daughter is brilliant, but anytime it's time to sit for her exam, take this exam and finish school, she says she has anxiety writing exam. She has anxiety. Right.
See, Nigerians, all Nigerians were all traumatized because only in Nigeria will we be saying, oh, we are bragging with our trauma. Somebody will say, I suffer past you.
With trauma. It's preparing for
my
the
own
world.
is worse.
All of you in America, the day Russia go answer una, that na the day we una go know waiting with is normal. And they are going to answer you. Listen, just be coming down. They don't ready for now. Just know that the next 20 years is not going to be like the last 20 years. Make you start one now. Make una go prepare. You see what do Donald Trump? You see waiting to Donald Trump. Nobody pay for Buhari or Tinubu rally. Make una just they prepare on a mind. Especially, I'm not talking about Australia now. I'm not talking about Canada. Those places are still calm. But you see that America, America don't go put hand inside waiting big past them. So if you've not gotten it yet, the likelihood that you will taste
You see, Freeze, that guy where you mentioned the name just now he arranged himself. Forget that thing because
but
People they
person buy
talk,
inside.
people they
The
talk that.
person will
now he
buy.
arranged himself. The guy
He
arranged
arrange himself,
himself.
but person buy.
Wonderful.
I be person no buy.
Because they have to take someone out. I get if you go check my
So-
page, you go see the video when I
Anyway,
post
guys.
what happens from the behind the podium. Then
Anyway,
people see
guys.
that guy, they shout police, police.
Yeah, people.
Anyway,
Some people
Stop the
believe that
guy.
it was a
Anyway,
package.
guys.
Yeah.
In
Let
package the
us
guy.
end here. Me, I want to go and rest.
All
Me,
right.
I want to go and
Thank
rest.
All
you,
right, good
everyone.
night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night. See,
All right, thank you.
final note. All of you that are abroad, don't think you are in paradise. And all of you that are in Nigeria,
We know
don't
they,
think
you
you
know
are
they
in hellfire.
paralyzed. The hustle is free here.
Everywhere get your own. Everywhere get your own. So make una
That's
just be
true.
calm down. If you do America, enjoy it, you make money, you enjoy yourself, it's all well and good. Leave Nigeria if you want to bring your children so that they can be more grounded. I have a friend in America. He born 3 children. The 3 of them say they no one married, they no one born. Baba,
Not everybody is supposed to marry or born.
but not be say you go get 3, the 3 no go marry and born. Now so your name take end. Baba, they don't make up, they don't tell them. Say nothing with they want to do. America, your children, these your children that you are trained, that you are so lovely to they will go and dump you in an old people's home. They not get conscience. You will what? You will what? Wait. You will what? Tolu talk now.
I will take care of myself when I'm old. I
Oh,
will
really?
make arrangements.
Oh,
Yes.
really? Pray that you don't have anything that requires care. Abroad children will take you to that home and leave you there. Read my lips. Because they were not raised communally. They have conscience. They say, oh, my mom, I'm gonna go greet her, get you flowers. But now that old people home, now you go deal. Prepare your mind for it. That trauma will you not collect. Now, when American system gives you trauma, they give you the trauma overload. Talk about that another day. So all of you, I was seeing Miss Linda, they were all typing. Just let me warn all of you down. Oh, people home, better send your children to come and do secondary school in Nigeria or university. If not, oh, people home. And let me tell you, those carers, caregivers, those people's home, they go pinch you now, they go smack you now, they go do a strong thing.
All right.
This to do a mouth sharp. I can only imagine how it would be.
Yeah,
You collect slap steady.
I never even say anything. I no agree me talk. You say my mouth sharp. Okay, I'm not talking again.
Someone said you are making a babanda yala point. You better send your children home for university and secondary school. Maybe they can't get conscience. Abroad children not get to. And you know if you teach them there. I don't want you down.